Welcome to Will It Game, the podcast or video podcast about pitching crappy board games from one board family. I'm your host, Ryan Gutowski, joined as always by...
It's me, Rick, and look, I'm in 3D.
Whoa! I can see you.
Yes.
You
Going
get
to
the
hit
full...
two of your senses instead of just one now if you're in the audience. So
you get the
you're
full
welcome.
experience here. And so you can obviously tell we have a guest judge on this episode. This is a special video edition of Will It Game. So our guest judge, Bruce Voge, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, brother, I'm so good. I'm so good. It's so nice to be here. Anytime I'm above the ground, I'm always going to be doing well. How are you doing?
We're doing great, Bruce. We are trying a video format of Will It Game with you because we thought you would be a great character to have on the show. So, Bruce, tell us a little about what you do in the board game industry.
Oh, my word. Okay. Whew, let me put this down for a second because this isn't long. I have a real long CV. I'm just going to lay this on the ground. Don't worry, folks. It's coming back. It's coming back. I wanted that there for the beginning promo. So I am the moderator of the Party Gamecast, featuring the Party Gamecast, a podcast about party games and games you take to parties. We also do What the Food, which is a little segment where we talk about food and snacks you would take to board game night. So if that's your sort of thing, you can check that out. So there's thing number one. I am also a co-host, although not frequently, but I am technically still a co-host on Board Games, one of the longest running and most well-respected board game podcasts in all of Podlandia. Yeah, that's probably a place. It's probably Podlandia.
Yeah.
I'm on there whenever they need like fart jokes, like when they just want to take an episode off and stop being serious. That's when they pull me on. So I have that. Also, I did work. Maybe you might recognize my face out there. I did formerly work for North Star Games. I was sort of the person that would appear on camera for them. So that may be a way that you'd know me. Also, let's see. So, recently, as this came out, I think a week ago, it was announced I'm now part of the Spiel.
Nice.
Yeah, on there, I now do a segment called Flicking Around, which is about dexterity games, because I thought, hey, Bruce, I talked to myself, my full name. Hey, Bruce, you already make one podcast about games that no one respects and that people that listen to podcasts don't want to hear a podcast about. Can you make it two? Can you pick another topic so divisive that people are just going to be angry you dare talk about it? And thank goodness the fine folks at the Spiel said, yes, Bruce, we can make that dream become a reality for you. So I talk about dexterity games on there. And then finally, the part that puts me in the video world, I guess two things. One, the Party Gamecast now does streaming 3 nights a week. So on Wednesday nights, we do a thing called Date Night where we play dating simulators. Right now we're playing Dream Daddy, the daddy dating simulator, which is like, and I say this not in character, not as a joke, is a heartwarming, touching story about a father and his daughter and his attempts to just like get through life, having like a daughter that's about to go off to college and find love. And it's so much better. We were ready for it to be a joke because we started Date Night with I Love You, Colonel Sanders, which is the dating game that came out from KFC, which is well worth your time.
Okay, I've wondered about that.
Does it matter if I watch these while we do this podcast? Is that fine?
No, have fun. Have fun.
Okay, all right, I'll be right back.
You have time to watch one. I still have more of a CV to talk about.
Oh, okay.
We do that every Friday night. I do a trivia game called It's Quiz Time, which is if you're missing bar trivia in these times and you want to just kind of play some bar trivia, you can play along at home on your phone. All the questions come there, and I talk to you just like I'm talking at you now. And then every Saturday night, 6 p.m. East to midnight, we do the Jackbox Pajama Party, where we play Jackbox games all night from 6 to midnight. And then finally, I have a new project I'm working on that will be up soon. We're recording preview episodes right now, but we haven't made them searchable, of a little project I'm calling Board Game the Game Show. It is made in my basement, my rules. Folks come on and we take games you may or may not know, board games, and we sort of game show-ify them. We change the rules, we remix them, and then we play them in a board game, in a game show format. We have now, the first episodes were 45 minutes long, too long for YouTube. So we decided we've cut some stuff out there, about to become 30-minute episodes.
Okay.
So 4 lucky contestants will play 2 games through the show. The top 2 winners go to the end, and they play a final game, which is hosted by my wife and my co-host, Rocky, and she does the end there. And then we have a second show we're going to be debuting, hopefully both at the same time, that we're now calling The Challenge. And the challenge is, as a team of 4 players, it is a co-op game where you play against the clock, the wheel, and me to try and give 16 clues in 10 minutes. but you have to deal with my wheel of surprises. You have to deal with the fact that a quarter of the spaces let me do whatever I want to you. So it's a whole bunch of interesting stuff happening now. Here in the quarantine, I've tried to just come up with new ideas and new ways. And really what I've wanted to do is, more than anything else, is just like what you guys are doing here, is I want to create board game content that isn't the same thing everyone else is doing. Not that that's not great. The stuff that's out there is not wonderful, but like we are becoming a big enough community that we can now handle people saying like, well, what if we just make a game show out of it? What if we just pitch weird game ideas at people and see what happens? And it's just really exciting. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me. I now will give the remaining 30 seconds to my friends in the fly farming states.
That's awesome. So, Bruce, that sounds like you've got some amazing stuff going on and coming out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're out of time. So thank you for joining us on Will It Game.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been great. You guys are wonderful. All of you watching out there, remember, like, subscribe. If you're at a virtual convention, go in whatever convention book. Remember, compliment everything about this. And if you're not a Patreon subscriber, sign up now. Every dollar is important. When you're out here doing this, you're shouting into the void, and $1 really makes us feel like what we're doing is important.
I didn't want to tell Rick this, but Rick might be leaving us, and Bruce, we might have a spot open at One Board Family. So no, come back, Rick. We need you for one more episode.
Just announced, I've now joined One Board Family.
There we go.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, you didn't even know it was going to happen.
I had nowhere else to go.
I like this. I want to add more to the CV.
So, Bruce, the pitches that we're going to give you today, you're obviously wearing some of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about wrestling tonight. We're pitching 2 board games on wrestling, and you have to vote for the one that is the least crappy of the 2 pitches. Do you feel qualified to do that, Bruce?
I mean, I'm wearing a luchador hat. I got a luchador mask upstairs. I've got a fine plastic version of the WWE Championship, and I didn't call it the WWF. So I think I'm in good shape. Let's do this.
I was hoping you said that you just had a luchador upstairs, but I'll take
not a full luchador.
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Doing nothing.
I keep one upstairs.
Yeah. So, Rick, would you like to pitch first, or would you like me to pitch first?
You go first. I'll let you have that. Let you feel good about yourself for just a little while.
Just for a minute. So, Bruce, my board game is called Jurassic Wrastling.
Okay.
You like that? Jurassic Wrastling.
Okay.
You are as a player, you are the manager of a Jurassic Wrestling federation. So you've got these dinosaurs that are just going to go at it in the ring, and you have to manage them to the best of your ability. In the beginning of the game, you are going to have a stable of different dinosaurs that are able to be drafted. Each one has different powers and abilities, things that their height and size is going to all come into effect, because you don't want a bunch of T-Rexes. You don't want a whole stable of T-Rexes.
No.
We all know what we're going to get with that. Anyway,
Lots of poop.
Ton of poop. Anyway, so you're going to draft your wrestlers in the beginning, and then in phase 2 of the game, you're going to actually have moves that you're going to pick from. So you're going to be drafting moves for your different dinosaurs. Some moves will only be for larger dinosaurs. Some moves will only be for smaller dinosaurs. They're going to run the gamut from like high-flying aerial moves to just powerful, like just head-busting. I don't even know what a dinosaur would do. Its tiny little arms would grab somebody like that,
Fair.
I feel like that was a good dinosaur impression.
Indeed, I agree. Well done.
Yeah, I got a 6 from the Russian judge.
Oh, nice. They're so generous. So you've got the stable of dinosaurs. You've got these cards that you're going to pair up with them. And then you and your opponents are going to go in, and this game is pretty flexible. You're going to be able to play up to 6 players. So it can kind of be a party game. So you're going to go into these different wrestling matches by playing one of the dinosaurs that you've drafted from earlier in the game, and then you're going to be able to play 2 moves, basically counteracting against the different players around you. So you can choose to, in a larger game with 6 players, you're going to be able to go against a specific another player, so you're going to be able to target another player at the table, or in a 2-player match, you're just going to be going head-to-head, toe-to-toe with these different wrestling dinosaurs. So, and that was Jurassic Wrastling.
Okay, Ryan, I have so many questions.
Yes.
So brace yourself. Okay, first I want to check, because I really appreciate that, and I'll let everybody in on the business a little bit here, is that ahead of time we have a discussion about what topics do we think I would want to judge. And we talked about a few, and we landed on wrestling, which is awesome. Love wrestling. You see it here. Ryan, do you know about wrestling, or did you deal with wrestling because of what we're doing here? Because if you only are dealing with it, my questions are a little different.
Okay. I know a little about wrestling because I watched it as a kid. Saturday morning, 12 o'clock rolls around, WWE's on,
Absolutely.
And so watched that as a child. And then when my kids were little, we actually watched some wrestling when they were little, and we would tune in every once in a while. And I would take my son to Buffalo Wild Wings, and we would watch WrestleMania every year in April. So just a little bit of wrestling.
Familiarity that I can ask a call. Okay, I wasn't going to be too big a jerk, but I wanted to check. So then, in your world, in the fiction that you're building,
yes,
are we pretending that wrestling is real? Are these real dinosaurs really hurting each other? Or are these like dinosaur wrestlers like we would have, where they're not really trying to hurt each other, they're putting on a show? Like, am I for the pin, or am I working to make the crowd happy? Like, what are my dinosaurs?
You're working to make the crowd happy, I think, because here's the thing. The wrestling dinosaurs are obviously going to be very much like part of the characteristics of this game. You've got dinosaurs that have bling on their tails. You've got dinosaurs in leotards. You've got all kinds of, they are going to be really, you're going to have some throwbacks to different characters that you may know, so in the wrestling world. So different hairstyles on the dinosaurs, because we know dinosaurs and hairstyles, I mean, they go hand in hand.
Well, I mean, you can't tell one dinosaur from another without a decent hairstyle.
That's true.
I get it.
Obviously.
So these dinosaurs are going to have gimmicks. These are gimmicked up dinosaurs.
Yes. Like most of my games, gimmicks.
I understand. So another thing, so when I'm drafting dinosaurs, are they going to have gimmicks that work well with each other? Is that good for me? Like, if I get, like, the Randy Savage dinosaur, do I want him to not have to be near the Shawn Michaels dinosaur? If I get the Big E dinosaur, do I want him to go with the Kofi Kingston dinosaur? I'm not even going to do, and if you're prepared to do this, do it, but I didn't want to put you on the spot. If you have any of the names of the wrestlers for me, which should be dinosaur puns, I didn't think you would, and I didn't want to put you on the spot.
Ryan not bringing puns into the game just shows a lack of preparation, and that's disappointing.
Yes.
Now, Rick makes a great point, but I'm not going to hold it against you yet unless Rick's super prepared, and then he's going to beat you here.
That's true.
When I'm drafting, I understand I want to strategically draft like big beefy boy dinosaurs and little flippy boy dinosaurs, but do I worry about like that their gimmicks know each other? Am I building? Is there a whole universe here?
I think that in certain situations, maybe if you had a tag team match, because we're going to have different rule sets that people can work with. So if you have tag team matches and stuff, you're not going to get. Maybe we even have like a heel versus hero type setup. Is this a bad dinosaur? Is this a dinosaur that gets the crowd booing at him? Or are we going to hold? Or do we have little cave children holding up signs saying, "I want to be just like you"?
So is this John Cena or is this John Cena?
That's exactly.
That's the question.
What year John Cena is this dinosaur?
Is this John Cena that can rap? Or is this John Cena that you can't see anymore? Those are two completely different John Cenas. So I wanted to check, is that going to be important here?
It's going to be good. And I want to go on and also say that one of the cards will be a T-Rex that has a special extended arm that is doing this in front of his face. You can't see me. So
I like it.
We've got some good illustrations.
Also, if it could do like that, but also acknowledge that the actor that plays Hulk Hogan is trash. But additionally,
it sounds like you're creating action figures at this point and no longer creating a game.
Well, that's for another day.
It sounds like Ryan has made the board game version of pick up your dinosaurs and go bam, 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 and that's what we do.
Yeah. Rick, we're world building.
Oh, I apologize.
Don't get mad because we're world building.
Apologize. You know what?
That's what all the great designers do.
That is very rude of me.
For real.
Yeah. I mean, this is This is Jurassic Wrastling. I guess my important question is, does Jeff Goldblum make an appearance? Because it's Jurassic, it needs to show up. He needs to be like somebody's hype man, or, you know, they always have celebrity appearances during these wrestling matches. I think you need a Jeff Goldblum.
Maybe a promo card that you could get. Yeah.
I'm going to go further. I don't know if any judge has ever done this. Maybe it's the first time ever. Okay. Maybe we're like RuPaul's Drag Race, where everything is the first time ever. And this is the first time a judge has ever helped. But
people often compare us to RuPaul's Drag Race, but yeah,
I'm trying to bring everything in from everywhere here.
Yeah.
Every place where somebody dresses flamboyantly and then performs in front of people, I want to bring it just from everywhere. If I can bring in the Lady Gaga at some point, I will, but I haven't had a chance to grab her yet and pull her in. So here's what I'm going to say. Jeff Goldblum, when you're playing the one-player version of the game, it's you versus Jeff Goldblum.
That's good. That's good.
I'm trying
that
here,
sounds
Ryan.
like a spin-off game.
He might have scientifically altered animals. That might be interesting. So,
that could be a lot of fun. That would explain the hair.
Yeah. So, all right. So that was Jurassic Wrastling. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Rick, would you like to pitch your mediocre game?
Sure, I'd love to. A couple of announcements first. One, this is the first ever Will It game that I had to brush my teeth for, so I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, you brushed yours. Ooh.
Yeah, we've been meaning to talk to you. Two, Ryan sounds more like dogfighting than wrestling, and you're a horrible person. Number three, let's get to my game. All right, so I'm just kidding. So while the moves and acrobatics of pro wrestling are amazing, we all must admit, where wrestling really sets itself apart is the wild characters. There's just as much fun in some of those interviews as there are in the matches if you get just the right person. And one of those right people was Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yes, he was, brother. Yes, he was.
He was well known for his intense voice and his crazy lines that didn't seem to make any sense. Some of his lines that I'm always doing the research, some of the ones I found, and now's the part where I break out my Macho Man Randy Savage impression. So here we go.
You gotta have one. You must have one. You gotta be.
I'm the Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour. And then
that's good.
It's not bad. It's not bad
at all.
Hulkamania is like a single grain of sand in the Sahara Desert. That is Macho Madness. And of course, it's never do a Slim Jim. All important lines that you need to know. That was less wrestling, related, but
I would argue no, it was not, sir.
In this game, my game is "Ooh Yeah" with Macho Man Randy Savage. So in this game, you'll be working together to put together the best Macho Man lines that you can. The game is played with 3 to 6 players in a big deck of cards, with each card having parts of a Macho Man catchphrase on it, both actually quoted by the man himself and inspired by him. This game will involve card drafting, so that you'll pick cards from a hand and pass them along, adding the selected card to your quote. You'll try to put together 1 or 2 phrases using the cards in a round, creating a jumble of awesome nonsense. So lines like, "You will eat my rear rockets and like it," and "The same fire the dragon breathes, he shall burn by," and "Oh yeah, rules? Well, rules were made to be broken, and your neck could be broken," will all come together to become, "You will eat the same fire the dragon breathes, and my rear rockets could be broken." So altogether, cards will have symbols on them that give you bonus points, a bit of set collection, as they will make more logical phrases when played together. You'll also have the wild "oh yeah" cards that can be played anywhere in your phrase and get you points. Because like Macho Man himself, you can say "oh yeah" anytime that you're talking.
Sure.
You'll play the game over 3 rounds, scoring the points of your phrases each round. The player who ends the game with the most points wins. And of course, it being me, I've already added some Kickstarter exclusives. There is the deluxe version, which comes with a box of Slim Jims.
Nice.
And then the premiere edition comes with a copy of Randy Savage's rap album, "Be a Man," which is definitely a real thing that I found.
Okay, so Rick, can you two, I know this is video and I'm not supposed to do this. Wait 1 sec.
It's good. This is good video.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. I think I should do my voice some more. Is that what I should do?
Yeah.
Maybe that's how I should start doing board game.
Can we get some Randy Savage quotes? Hold on. Maybe we can do some.
So that right there is an autographed picture of Randy Savage from the promotional for the album you were talking about called "Be a Man."
That is good. That is good.
I never get a chance to pull it out. It hangs on the wall.
I never get to show
because
that.
it's one of the most ridiculous. And I own a lot of things.
Yeah.
This is one of the most ridiculous things I own.
Wow.
So not only is that album real, that is the promotional picture where the whole first song was him pretending he was still in a real fight with Hulk Hogan.
Wow.
Who is a trash. Hulk Hogan's a trash person. But he also was never in a real fight with Randy Savage. That wasn't it's acting.
Yeah.
But he pretended it was, and it was like, I'm going to smash your face, brother, yeah. That having been said, he's a better rapper than you would expect.
Really? Okay.
Well, it's the early 2000s Randy Savage, which is around the Spider-Man time, I believe. So that's where you're getting some solid Bonesaw Randy Savage.
Bonesaw's ready!
Yep, that's
I want to say
possibly
at
the
some
greatest
point he
line
name
from
drops
Spider-Man.
Bonesaw.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think we should just stop the podcast and go listen to the album.
There we go.
This will become a reaction video.
If you're out there, by all means, grab Spotify, because I think at one point he's like, "Yeah, Hogan, I'm gonna slice you like Bonesaw," and then there's like, "Yeah," and then of course there's like the rap effect of "Yeah," like in the background.
I would love to be Randy Savage's hype man. Like that would have been an awesome job.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. That is that's super great. I have very few questions.
Oh, okay.
Because the only thing I would note is, and Rick, I know you clearly are a man who did your homework. So I assume you saw a little game called Smack Talk Showdown.
I've heard of the game. Yes. It
is almost what you've proposed, but less Randy Savage and more just cut a generic wrestling promo, given these cards to do it.
Right.
That's funny.
So, Rick, here's the thing I have to ask. In your game with your draft, I understand you're using your symbols to try to make sense of things. Does this end up working at all, or is this just like maybe, and it's a game, I don't want to mention it. Let me not mention the game I want to mention, but you're going to know what I'm talking about. Because there's a really horrendous, god-awful version of Apples to Apples out there. And if you play that horrendous, god-awful version of Apples to Apples, you'll know one thing you can do is pick any card from the deck without any thought, and it can win. I would argue it can happen in Apples to Apples too, but more in the horrible, terrible, probably light your copy on fire version. Is there anything here that's going to prevent that, or do you figure the draft just takes care of it? Or is it that it's just so much fun it doesn't matter?
Maybe what we can do is kind of combine, like, you get points from the symbols, but maybe also there's around like a voting section where you vote on which phrase ended up being the best. So there's the creativity element and then the card set collection drafting element. So you're kind of combining an apples to feel with like the lightest version of Sushi Go kind of thing that you could come up with. And we can definitely throw in some like multiplier cards and things like that. And I think there's a lot of creativity with the "oh yeah" cards that we can take advantage of.
Well, there you go. I think I don't have any more questions. I think that might be that might be all of it.
This may be the hardest thing you have to do all day. It's very good. Rick, you brought the heat, buddy. This may be the hardest thing you had to do all day, but Bruce, which is the least crappy of these two board game pitches?
I'm going to go so far as to say, I don't even want to say least crappy.
Okay.
Because the one that I like, I think could be put out by Ravensburger next summer in Target.
Okay.
I really do. And what I'm going to say is I've seen a lot of times in this industry where someone says like, oh, I have a really cool game X that used to be about zombies or used to be about cars banging against each other. I'm just going to throw this new, oh, people like wrestling now? Let me slap this wrestling theme on and see if I can sell it. And one game felt like that. But the other one didn't not feel like that, but felt like I could sell it at Target next summer. So I'm going to go with Rick. Rick, you gave me the better of the two games.
That's good.
Because I think if you could sign the deal with Macho Man, no joke, I think with enough work, that Randy Savage thing, if you can get real Randy Savage behind it, and by that I mean the family of the late real Randy Savage behind it, I think you should probably talk to somebody at WizKids and say like, hey, you'll slap wrestling onto any game you've ever made before.
Yeah, hey, Big G Creative, guys. You know, here's Bob Ross right behind me. Kenny G. I think Bob Ross, Kenny G. The next step is Macho Man Randy Savage. That's the way it's got to go.
I 100% agree with you, and I think we're waiting for it. I think now we have the Monsters over here.
Oh, there he goes
the
again.
Monsters have a series.
Yeah, there you go.
That was a good game, too.
Yeah, no, and it's a good game.
Yeah.
Pop-Tarts just got a cereal.
Trapper Keeper's got a game.
You know who needs a game? Slim Jims needs a game.
There we go.
I think you're ready to go.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's good
so much
stuff.
nostalgia all in one box at Target. I think we can make it happen.
Rick, you brought it this week. I appreciate it. So if you enjoyed this little video snippet of what we do, this show is called Will It Game. This is a weekly podcast that we do with some of the coolest people in the industry who come on the show. We get to do things with Bruce Voge. We've had so many great guest designers, podcasters on our show, and we'd love for you to subscribe. So be sure to check out Will It Game. You can find it over at oneboardfamily.com. And you can follow us all over the internet at One Board Family. And Bruce, where can people follow you and find all your awesome board game and game show stuff?
Okay, so here's what you can do. You can follow me at BruceCoThinks on Twitter. If you really are into the party game stuff, follow at Party Gamecast on Twitter. If you're like, hey, Bruce, that board game thing sounded like fun, look for Board Game the Game Show at BG the Game Show on Twitter. If you're looking for me on Board Game Geek, Bruce Co., find me there. If you're like, hey, Bruce, this was all right, but I'd rather you slightly more controlled, talking slightly more serious, look for On Board Games, a part of the Inverse Genius Podcast Network. Or if you're like, Bruce, I like this, but I want you to talk about moving objects in games, by all means, start listening to The Spiel, which if you haven't, what's wrong with you? I believe the first episode I'm on just came out. There'll be more that I will be appearing in. Check that out. Look for Flicking Around. Yeah, I think that covers it. And if if none of those work, just go into a hotel room and pull a Gideon Bible out and just whisper softly into it. I can probably hear from there too.
There we go.
Bruce is like the board game version of those celebrities that show up on all the summer game shows. You're like the Joel McHale of board games.
There we go.
Right now.
Yes. Yes. That's so
dream.
Good. So, Bruce, thank you so much for joining us for Will It Game, the video edition of the podcast. So thanks so much for joining us, everybody out there. And until next time, we'll see you at the table.